The Chaser Report is recorded on Gadigal land.
Striving for mediocrity in a world of excellence. This is the Chaser Report.
Hello and welcome to the Chaser Report with Dom and Charles. And Dom, some great news coming out of the US.
Really? I haven't seen any great news coming out of the US. What's happened is, has Donald Trump gone to jail and I didn't notice?
Yeah, well, all these things are happening, but the Congress is collapsing. Trump's on trial in about 4 different places. But today, it's billionaires are having their comeuppance for once.
I don't believe you. That's not a thing that happens ever.
We'll find out how it's happening after this. You remember FTX?
Yes, of course, the crypto exchange that was a total flaming disaster.
Well, yeah, and they sponsored the cricket. They sponsored the Ashes tour the beginning of the year. All the cricket was the FTX tour.
Was it real?
In Australia.
I remember that.
And
Ashes is what it ended up becoming.
And actually, I went to the cricket the same day that FTX went bankrupt.
Wow.
And every single ad was for FTX.
Did someone come out during the tea break and just sort of wipe them all off?
That's right. So what happened was they were a very respectable, one of the bigger, they were the second biggest cryptocurrency exchanges in the world.
Yeah, so the place you'd go to buy and sell cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin and so on.
And as with all very austere, respectable financial institutions, it was, of course, based in the Bahamas.
Yes, absolutely, which is always a guarantee of quality and financial robustness. You know you're basically dealing with, I don't know, Lloyd's of London or something.
Yeah, especially as the whole operation seemed to have been run out of one big sort of apartment, apartment mansion. Yeah. Like condo.
Frat house, really.
Yeah, with 10 of the senior executives of FTX, including the CEO, Sam Bankman-Fried, and his girlfriend, who was the CEO of Alameda Research, which was the hedge fund arm of FTX.
Yeah, and they were jumping in and out of each other's beds and funneling money in and out of each other's businesses' accounts, if I recall.
So just to sort of give you a broad perspective on this Sam Bankman-Fried, he's now 31 years old, but, back then he was about 30, and he was a very prodigious guy.
Oh, everyone's talking about him as the sort of Steve Jobs of crypto, as this new genius coming up and just changing the world and making things better. And celebrities flocked him, didn't they?
Yes, that's right. I mean, yeah, he had the Matt Damon. Oh, no, Matt Damon wasn't doing his ads. It was somebody else. But he was, one of the things that he got was he was the fastest billionaire in the world.
In history.
In history.
Not over 100 metres.
Yeah. So literally no one has ever become a billionaire faster than this guy. Went from nothing to billionaire. And by the time FTX collapsed, it was worth $32 billion. It was a huge company.
And did he lose the billion faster than he accumulated it in the first place? Did he set an even better record for losing it all?
Yes, because on the day that it was declared bankrupt, it was worth $32 billion. It went from $32 billion to zero in one day.
That's extraordinary.
I know. Amazing. Anyway, yeah, as you say, they were all living in this frat house, sleeping together, all that sort of stuff. But one of the crucial things that they knew, because they were lawyered up to the wazoo, they were a $32 billion financial services company, was that it was crucial that any decision that FTX made about its investments and where it placed its cash and, where it borrowed money from would not influence its hedge fund arm.
Oh, yes. Right? They call that Chinese walls, don't they?
There is a sort of, you can't, it's crucial, it was just the law, right? That none of the decisions that Alameda Research, the hedge fund arm, made was dictated by the needs of FTX. So, FTX needed extra cash, needed sort of, because it was a growing trading...
A growing pyramid
company.
scheme, if I remember.
Growing pyramid scheme. But all the sort of relationships that they had were fine as long as they were at arm's length. Like, if FTX went and said, can I borrow $1 billion from you, Alameda Research, then as long as Alameda Research kicked the tires and went, yeah, that's in our interests to do that.
Right, okay.
Then that would be fine. That is the crucial part of the thing. And what Sam Bankman-Fried has maintained since the day he was arrested, which was a couple of days after it went bankrupt, he has said, look, this thing was lawyered up to the wazoo. We had lawyers everywhere. Everything we did was covered off by lawyers.
There is no way my girlfriend did me a favour.
Yes, exactly.
Because when's that ever happened?
Because Chinese walls happen everywhere. Like, it would be like PwC or some sort of important consultancy, taking confidential information that they have guaranteed to be secret and then selling it to other clients.
Yeah, just passing it straight. It'd be like, Charles, the podcasting arm of what we do here at The Chaser, working in cahoots with the giant inflatable avocado selling sector. And based on the sales figure, that's never happened.
That's never happened.
If anything, we've talked them down.
Yeah, that's
We've
right.
hurt the sales.
Proper Chinese walls exist because we've got integrity, right?
And that term, by the way, just footnote, it's probably racist, Chinese walls. Whatever, but that's what they say in business. Structural separation to make sure that there can't be collusion, just like in PwC.
I think it's only racist if you don't believe in them. Because,
I was confused because
Chinese walls is supposed to mean a robust and clearly, unbreakable wall.
they're referring to the Great Wall of China, but domestically speaking, the walls tend to be
thin
of
and-
rice paper.
Thin and flimsy.
And you just fold them out of the way. Yeah, that's right.
I think there might be an element of sarcasm in the word Chinese
Could
wall.
just be.
So the whole point is that the government finds itself in a little bit of a tricky situation because it's got to be able to prove not just that, sure, they were sleeping together, but, these sort of Chinese walls happen all the time. And if it's lawyered up the wazoo, then maybe actually there is an argument to say, well, Alameda Research just went, okay, this is a growing FTX business. This is one of the largest currency exchanges in the world. Why don't we lend them some money that sounds like a really
You would
good
invest
investment?
in it, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Especially
It's
if
growing.
they've been funneling money into your Alameda Research in the first place.
Exactly. So the prosecution's in a little bit of a difficult situation, or so you would think, right? So the trial started a couple of days ago, and the government laid out their case on day one, which was that basically, by the time it collapsed, Sam Bankman-Fried and his girlfriend, a few other people, had stolen about $10 billion.
Did they steal it, though, or did they make a pitch to Alameda Research to say, look, independently, it might be in your interests to just give me a couple of bill.
Yes.
I'm good for it. I'll pay you back. Be your best friend.
It's a bit like in Dumb and Dumber.
Yes.
When they discover that briefcase of cash.
Oh, yeah.
And then they go, look, we're not going to steal it because it's like $1 million in this briefcase. What we'll do is we'll take the cash and we'll just write IOUs every time.
Exactly.
Because we're going to pay it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the government's case. But the defence also outlined their defence in their opening statement. And they said, look, Sam didn't defraud anyone. This is a hindsight case. This is something where, okay, everyone's wise in hindsight, but actually until it collapsed, nothing bad was happening. It's just the fact that it collapsed that makes you think that like if it had kept on going on and on and on, no one would ever be the wiser that
And
there was
this is the whole thing about pyramid schemes, that they're only exposed when you use the money that is received from new customers and to basically give to yourself.
Yes.
You don't get caught until they want it back because they think they've got a crypto balance with you, whereas in fact you've just taken their money.
I think you should contact the defence and outline that to them because that sounds like a perfect closing statement.
I just remember, Charles, what the Chaser's subscription business was like.
Oh, shut up.
Which was that
Fuck
long
off.
as long as in any given month we got enough new subscribers to pay the printing bills, then there was a chance that the people who'd bought, 10 issues subscriptions from us would actually get those subscriptions.
Well, that did work. It was a growth model.
No one ever wanted an edition of the newspaper and didn't get one, unfortunately.
I remember this very respectable businesswoman who was helping us at the time. I won't mention her name, but she saw how we were doing that, and she was just so appalled by. She said, "You've got to do accrual accounting. You've got to," because I had no concept that there was something called accrual accounting.
You're like, well, here's new money. Let's use the new money to pay for that.
It was just cash accounting, which is money comes in, money goes out. That's anyway. The
We're
point
very
is,
good at the money goes out part. Let's find out exactly how this thing's going to land in a moment.
The Chaser Report. More news, less often.
So they're the two sides of the case. One side is $10 billion has been taken from FTX.
Yeah.
The other one is no, because it only became apparent once the music stopped.
It's not a fraud until someone asks for their money back. I've got that tattooed on my chest.
The point is that given that it was lawyered up to the wazoo, the government might not actually be able to prove that there was some intention to just automatically defraud by shifting money from FTX to Alameda, right?
Yeah.
What they need some sort of piece of paper, some sort of
A smoking gun.
gun.
Smoking gun.
Yes, that shows that there was human intention, that that made this thing. But
let's say there was a document where someone went, "Hey, I'm a bit short. Can you just give me $10 billion as a favour? Promise I'll pay you back." And that would prove that it wasn't being in Almeida's interest. It's actually in the interest of FTX.
But there is no piece of paper like that because, as Sam keeps on saying, everything was lawyered within an inch of its life, right?
Yeah.
Like all the paperwork is like, oh yes, this is all arm's length decisions, right? Except there is a small piece of code buried deep within the FTX exchange system.
Right. So the actual software that they use to buy and sell crypto,
that talks to the Alameda research computer that is completely separate.
How did that get there?
Right. It's a tiny piece of code. It's just like literally a few hundred numbers long, like when you turn it into binary. And what it did was it basically meant that every time FTX needed a bit more money, Alameda would know that and adjust its portfolio so that it gave a bit more money to FTX.
Oh, so they didn't ask. So there's no records of asking. But there's a sort of auto leveler.
There's an auto leveler where Alameda Research's entire portfolio is dictated by the needs of FTX, the exact thing that the government is trying to prove.
Gosh, if only there was someone in the government who was able to actually look at the file, at the source code and discover things like that. Wait a second, I think there might have been.
Yeah, so, well, actually, no, the government's actually a bit luckier than that, which is this guy who was testifying on Thursday, Australian time, Adam Yedidia, right? So essentially the moment FTX started going bankrupt, Adam submitted his resignation and immediately went to federal prosecutors, right?
Right. And it's always it's important, if you're ever in this situation where your company has massively gone under at short notice, you've got to be the first in the door of the prosecutors.
First in the door. First in the door.
Cut the deal.
Yeah. And he
Sorry, a sec, I've just got to go and call
that's right.
ASIC about the chaser.
So
Good luck, Charles.
Oh dear. Anyway, let me explain this. Because...
All right, I'm back. I've got a meeting with them later.
Okay, Adam Yedidia obviously was feeling a little guilty. And what he said on Thursday, our time in the trial, was that I may have unwittingly written code that contributed to a crime. That's why he...
Oh, no.
And because he's appearing as a witness under an immunity order for some reason. Right?
Lucky man.
But he went, oh, wait a minute. That code that I wrote that informs FTX, the one that Sam I remember telling me, don't mention this to anyone.
Right.
Might actually be a bit of dodge fest.
That's also, if you do work for a company and you're gradually realising it's a criminal endeavour, when they say don't mention this thing that you did to anybody, possibly a red flag.
That's right, exactly. So that's where it's at. It's only day 2 of what is likely to be a 6-week trial.
Wow.
So I'm sure there's going to be a lot more juicy details about billionaires getting their comeuppance here. But the point is that this guy who was worth billions of dollars and presumably still is worth $10 billion, seeing as that money is still missing, is looking like he's going to spend the rest of his life in jail. He's 31.
Well, except that he's probably written some sort of piece of code that spreads the sentence amongst everyone else who have worked for FTX or indeed invested in FTX.
Maybe they've made the jail out of Chinese walls.
They may well. He's probably hoping they have at this point. So the bottom line is don't buy crypto. And in particular, hasn't it been so satisfying just seeing NFTs absolutely go down the toilet in recent years? Because they looked like they really should. And there was a brief period where I was like, you got to buy it. No, you're missing out on the next big thing. Thank fuck.
The good thing about NFTs, just to have a little bit of an afterthought with that, is that they've actually started unwinding some of those trades and realised that they were literally just part of a massive money laundering scheme.
Yeah.
And that the whole thing was very intentionally designed to blow up.
God, why didn't we get in on it? I know. You know what, though, Charles? If I can buy an NFT of the bit of code that equalised the 2 bank accounts, I would definitely buy that because that's going to be worth a lot one of these days. I guess I'd say that if anyone wants to buy an NFT of an avocado inflatable pool toy, all you need to do is just contact Charles here at The Chaser.
Yes.
And I think you could be onto something really big. These things are going to take off.
You know, Dom, we've actually sold out of those pool toys. I know you mock me
Yeah, that mocking you is the way we sold them.
That's right.
It's quite strategic.
And in actual fact, somebody contacted me and said, does this really truly reflect your values, selling cheap shit from China? And I thought about it and I went, actually, no, it doesn't. So this Christmas, we're not selling much at all.
Hang on, Charles. If I recall what you were doing before, isn't it true that you were selling very expensive shit? Like you marked it up quite a lot. Okay, so we're not doing disposable novelty items this Christmas.
The
Chaser Annual. That's pretty disposable.
Yeah, we're doing the Chaser Annual. We've got the Bad Parenting book. We've got, I do have a few things from China, but they're sort of more high quality stuff. I bought these wonderful lapel pins. I got it made, a whole lot of lapel pins, which are tiny. I'll show. I can go and get. Do you want me to go and get you one?
A lapel pin.
Okay, just hold on 1 second. I'll be back in a second.
Oh, you knew there'd be a marketing pitch at the end. He's literally going off now to get lapel pins. They're really cool, he says. How cool can a lapel pin possibly be? Okay, Charles is returning with a lapel pin.
They're tiny.
Yeah.
And you really got to...
Oh, you've got to go in nice. So, you know how people kind of ostentatiously wear the Order of Australia badge?
Yes, exactly.
Like your sister, who's a member of the Order of Australia, as we know. So your version of this is a small, it's about 1.5 centimetres wide, I'd say.
Yep.
And it says, fuck Murdoch.
Yep. Fuck Murdoch.
So you've got to get in nice and close.
Really. Yeah. My aim is to get Kevin Rudd and Malcolm Turnbull wearing them, and then it'll just go viral.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Maybe get Lachlan Murdoch. James Murdoch.
James Murdoch. You should actually send him one.
Yeah.
Send him one, write him a letter.
Anyway, so we're going to sell those. See, they're cool. They're really cool. And also we've got dog bandanas this year.
He's always hoping that one of these things is going to make him enough money to pay his bills. All right, our gear is from Road. We're part of the Iconoclast network. Thank you for listening this far. If you have, please jump on Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star review and then make fun of us. We love both those elements, please, not just the one.
See ya.